I'm pretty excited to take a look at this Mini Racers pack today. Not just because it'll help me complete my Mini Racers Race and Rescue collection, not just because it isn't too often we see new Mini Racers out these days, it's mainly because this 3-pack includes one of the single strangest items in the history of the Mini Racers line. And that's saying something when you're a toy line that randomly released Carbon Racers Shu Todoroki and never made regular Shu or any of the TROC cars. They also made Road Trip Series Ramon, and does anyone remember the Dynaco and Rusty's wraps? Yeah, the Mini Racers are no stranger to weird items, and this is one of the weirdest of all time. This might look like a Mini Racers version of Race and Rescue Kathy Copter, and it's actually not, and we'll get to that in just a second. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another review, and to another Mini Racers 3-pack review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the 2026 Mini Racers Saving Citizens 3-pack. That is the official name of this pack, and honestly, I absolutely love it. I'm always happy to see the Mini Racers line continue into another year. I love the Mini Racers so much, and you know, the regular Cars diecast line's been in a bad place these last few years, but the Mini Racers line feels like it's really on life support. So I'm always happy to see some new packs come out. And it looks like we'll be getting a good deal of anniversary releases later on in the year. I hope that the release of Lightning Racers next year revitalizes it, because the very chibi-fied art style of that show was honestly pretty close to the Mini Racers, and I think they should capitalize on that. Or should I be calling them just Minis? Because this year, for whatever reason, the Racers from Mini Racers just mysteriously disappeared, and the packaging now just says Mini. I don't know why. I'm fine either way. I'm going to keep calling them Mini Racers just because that's what we're used to, but I don't know why, but they decided to change the name to just Mini 9 years after the line started. It feels, again, like kind of a desperate attempt to revitalize the brand, but also just kind of a weird way to do it. Like last year when we got this new packaging, I was like, okay, see, now we're getting somewhere. The Mini Racers are doing something bold and new, and this year they were like, yeah, we'll do that again. They're not Racers anymore, now they're just Mini. Like, I don't get it. I don't get the point. It's so weird. I bet several of you probably didn't even realize the word Racers was missing. But yeah, anyway, absolutely love this packaging as per usual. We got all of our characters there, including Rotor, which is fun. Tractor, love the cameo from the Pizza Planet truck back there. Of course, this pack includes 3 items: Sarge, Race and Rescue Red, and Race and Rescue Psych Rotor Turbowski. Yeah, this one is weird. So, let me tell you guys a story, right? Several months ago, this Mini Racer leaked and was then released in the boxes. And we saw it, and we're like, okay, it's a Mini Racer of a Race and Rescue Kathy Copter. That's cool, that's fine. Except there was a problem. It was a repaint of the Mini Racers Rotor Turbowski. They didn't make a new mold for Mini Racers Kathy Copter. I talked a lot in my previous Mini Racer Race and Rescue reviews about how they made basically no new molds for the Mini Racer Race and Rescue cars. They made a mold for Mater, and much more recently they made a mold for a Mini Morgan Martins. Wow, every word in that sentence almost started with M. A lot of alliteration there. And yeah, it just seemed to me like the Mini Racers were clearly approaching the end of their days, because basically none of the new Mini Racers last year had new molds, and they also barely made any. They didn't make any of the Racers from Race and Rescue. Instead, they just threw normal Chick Hicks into a pack. This pack, unfortunately, did something similar, just throwing in a regular Sarge, even though there is a Race and Rescue Sarge out there. And so to see that their Kathy Copter was going to be a repaint of Rotor Turbowski was pretty disappointing. It just went to show, once again, okay, looks like the Mini Racers line isn't doing too hot right now. And then this pack came out several months later and confirmed that, no, this is officially a Race and Rescue Rotor Turbowski. It's actually not Kathy Copter. Is that a mistake? I don't know, guys. Honestly, I don't know, but there are, aside from the mold, some visual differences between the Race and Rescue Kathy Copter and this in terms of their design. So yeah, this is officially a Race and Rescue Rotor Turbowski. I know Race and Rescue Kathy Copter had a lot of controversy with people just being annoyed that it didn't really make sense for this character that was a reporter I didn't really mind it. I thought the item looked good, although it was a weird choice for a character. I gotta say, I think Race and Rescue Rotor Turbowski, from a canon perspective, makes a bit more sense. It's still a bit weird, still pretty much as weird as Race and Rescue Kathy Copter, but also having a Race and Rescue Rotor out there, I kind of like, because Rotor, has kind of more directly interacted with the cars of Radiator Springs, right? He gave Mater a ride, and I could definitely see a situation where McQueen's like, hey, we need a helicopter to help with our rescue team. And Tex calls up the Dynaco helicopter. It's like, well, I could send you this one. I feel like this could be headcanoned a little easier than Kathy Copter. Regardless, I don't know. What would you guys have preferred? Would you have preferred this be just a direct mini racer Kathy Copter, or are you good with it being a separate character? I don't know. I'm fine either way, honestly. I just think it's kind of fun. You know me, you know that I love weird niche variants, so I'm very much okay with this existing. But yeah, also in this pack we have Sarge and Race and Rescue Red. I'll take a look at Sarge first. I'm honestly always happy to have a new mini racer Sarge. It's a character that you don't see out too much in 3-packs. And of course, my stores don't get in the mini racer boxes, so when it comes to me, wanting cars for customs, Sarge is a really great one to have. I'll have to wait and see what I do with this one. Of course, it is super frustrating that there is no Race and Rescue Sarge. This should have been a Race and Rescue Sarge. It wouldn't even have required a new mold. I know they weren't really making new molds for these, but I mean, come on. A Race and Rescue Sarge is basically the exact same mold, but with a fire hydrant. So, yeah, pretty disappointing that they didn't do a little extra. They didn't even just repaint normal Sarge. The color changer did that. You could have done that at the very least. I know it's not 100% accurate because I'm pretty sure that Sarge has a different backpack, right? Did I make that up? I think it might. Regardless, yeah, it's just a regular Sarge, which is disappointing from 2 perspectives. The first being that, again, it should have been the Race and Rescue one. The second being that the pack is called Saving Citizens. And so it's like, are Rotor and Red saving Sarge, who, within the context of the story, is also supposed to be part of the rescue team? I don't know. It was just a weird choice. If anything, they should have called it Saving Racers and included a racer. But just like with Sarge, it would have not been a Race and Rescue variant. It would have just been a regular racer. But yeah, sorry. Just a regular old Sarge. Always good to see him in the Mini Racers line, even if he really shouldn't be here and should be a different variant instead. Now let's take a look at Red. Both Red and Rotor were previously out in the boxes. Great to have them in a pack here so that more people could get them. And I think Red here looks pretty great. This is, I believe, our 4th Mini Racers Red, after the regular one, the Rusty's Racing Center one, and the Holiday one. And just like his 155 scale diecast, they actually made the shade of red on him a bit brighter, more vibrant. That's something that we saw with the regular Race and Rescue variant of him. And he also has a different expression that looks a little bit cheerier than the original Red and a bit more in line with his 155 scale release. Of course, we have all the details you would expect to see here. The blue rims, the Race and Rescue logo, although I will say it is actually not 100% accurate. It says Rescue on the side here instead of having the Race and Rescue logo. See, so Red has a logo here and Rescue written here. And here, clearly, they didn't have space to fit Rescue just because of the squishing of the Mini. So they wrote Rescue here instead of the logo. I would have preferred if they just put the logo on him, because I'm pretty sure that means that this is a Race and Rescue item, yeah, without the logo on it anywhere, which is pretty frustrating. I would have liked to have seen them just do the logo anyway. I do like how they adapted the yellow stripes, though, despite also not having space for that. They had it sort of weave between the hoses, and I think that ended up looking really good. Also looking really good are the wheels on this guy, which are completely correct with the yellow and gray, which is really, really nice. There is a look at the back and the other side, and finally the base. Of course, the Mini Racers often have to make compromises due to their shapes and sizes, but yeah, I would have preferred to have that logo on there, since that is something universal that all of the Race and Rescue items have. But we actually see something similar on a Rotor here. That is, if you're saying that Rotor is Kathy. Remember earlier on in the video I said there are some visual differences? Well, the one that I noticed right in the box was that Kathy has Rescue written here on her tail, and Rotor has it written on his hat. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's them trying to make them look different. But now seeing that with the red, they moved the word rescue since it didn't fit somewhere else. I'm willing to bet that's just what they did here. This is so confusing, right? Because this is the exact same design that Kathy had, just put onto the body of Rotor Turbowski, save for this part, which was moved due to space. So yeah, I think with all intents and purposes, this was supposed to be Kathy, but whatever reason, the budget didn't account for them making a new mold or whatever. They chose to make it on the body of Rotor, and instead of just saying it was Kathy Copter, they did end up saying it was Rotor. That's fine. And again, I do like having a variant of Mini Racer's Rotor, but I think even though this is a fun character to have in the Race and Rescue line, I think it makes a little more sense than Kathy. It is just another thing to me that's emblematic of the slow death of the Mini Racers as a line. And again, I hope Lightning Racers revitalizes it, but it just shows me that clearly they had very little budget to work with last year and couldn't even make a new mold for this item. So instead, they made it a different character. Regardless, said different character looks pretty good. Again, just has all the same details as Kathy. Has the same face as... pretty much. Actually, a different face. That's really nice than the original Rotor. And yeah, he's just got Kathy Copter's decals here with the yellow stripes, rescue written here instead of on the tail. You got the window here. I love the detail of the door, of course, that Mater pops out in the movie. Super nice to see that as part of the mold. For those of you who have never seen the Mini Racers Rotor before, these wheels are actually just painted on dummy wheels. There's actually only one functioning wheel on this guy, and it's here on the base. So yeah. Of course, we got the propeller, which spins not super well, but it does work as a functioning spinning propeller. Mine actually works a lot better here than it does on the original Rotor. I really like how they added these little yellow details on the fins. Again, even if the Mini Racers haven't been making new molds of late, still really, really like what they've been doing. Still as detailed as ever. There is a look at the other side. And finally, there is a look at the base. So yeah, I've said a lot about this 3-pack. A lot of different things. Some negative, some positive. At the end of the day, I am happy that it exists. Like I said, it is disappointing to see where the Mini Racers line is right now, but as far as mini 3-packs go, I think this is genuinely a really solid one. While this isn't the Sarge we should have gotten, it's not common to see Sarge in 3-packs, so it's honestly really great to get him here. I think this might be my first duplicate Sarge ever. That is how infrequently he's in 3-packs. This might be his first ever 3-pack appearance, so even though it's not the variant we should have gotten, I am very, very happy to see him. If you don't get the boxes, like me, if your stores don't carry them, this is the wrong red. Whoops, okay, ignore that. Having a red and a Rotor out in a 3-pack is genuinely really nice, and I'm pretty happy to have them. So yeah, kind of a weird and wacky pack, but I'm always happy to add some new minis to the collection, even if we aren't getting as many as we used to. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, in a couple months, we'll see some of the Race to Celebrate minis coming out, because from what we've seen, those are looking pretty great. Bye now.